And the Oak Ridge Boys.
Boom.
Fucking
Every white suburban parent had I'm so glad
you gotta fucking love the Oak Ridge Boys. Were great, man. They're fucking awesome.
All right, before we begin the show, let's thank our sponsors. First and foremost, our title sponsor, Once Upon a Coconut, all natural, non-GMO coconut water with natural electrolytes and no added sugar. You can choose from pure blueberry, pineapple, watermelon, sparkling energy, and chocolate flavors with Once Upon a Coconut. Stay hydrated and refreshed. And if you're wondering why it tastes so darn good, it's due to a combination of factors, including the freshness and sweetness of young coconut water, the lack of additives, and the natural electrolytes present. And the best part about it, Once Upon a Coconut, 10% of profits go to charity that benefit our communities, including the Down Syndrome Foundation, Breast Cancer Foundation, Leukemia Society. Good things, good people, great product. So you can grab it at some Sprouts. You can grab it on Amazon. You can go online to find a store near you or purchase it right there off of their website, onceuponacoconut.com. It is delish. Big thanks to Inspect All Pest Services, our buddy Nick and the crew over at Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite, pest, and wildlife control. That's not all they do. Inspect All can take care of your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Remember, seasonal, you get different bugs and critters all around your house, so you want to go with the best in the business, and that would be one of our fine sponsors from day one, InspectAllServices.com. It's the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, with the Aurora Law Firm, best darn defense attorney in the world, litigating all over the United States, based out of Georgia. We're talking criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. And you can always get your legal questions answered by the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, by getting those to me. And when he pops up on a show, you get your questions answered. So go to thebaileyshow.com and we'll get those questions to the Mad Dog. The Aurora Law Firm.com. He is the best in the business when it comes to therapists. There's no doubt about that. I use them, and so should you. We're talking about Dr. David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling. He's got 10 therapists in-house, 3 different locations there in Georgia, one across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains in East Cobb, Marietta near the Square in McKaysville, just outside of Blue Ridge. But if you're not in Georgia and you need to talk to the good doctor, then you can go online and get virtual sessions. Ridgeline Counseling at gmail.com if you'd like to email him directly, or go online to markwelltherapy.com. There is no better time to check if your insurance is any good. That's why FBC Insurance is waiting for you to reach out. You can call them at 888-308-1841 or email them info@fbcinsuranceservices.com. I just switched up my car insurance because I got a better deal at FBC Insurance. They were the people to find it. Perfect for new homeowners, especially if you're trying to reshop those current insurance policies. 5-star service, multi-policy, bundled discounts, and they're going to shop every carrier out there to find the best insurance for your house, flood, storm season, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or just a personal policy. 888-308-1841 or go online, FBCInsuranceServices.com. Another one of our great sponsors in storm season. You have to talk to the good people at Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia. Family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer, founded in 2012. So storm season, power goes out. Who knows when it's coming back on? Don't be that guy or girl that does not have a backup plan and having power for whatever it be, especially medical devices, fans, air conditioning, so on and so forth. Offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators, every single one of you. When you become a customer at Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia, you get an upgraded warranty, free monitoring, and warranty repair. A+ rating with the BB&B, and you pay nothing until the job is complete. Call or request a free home assessment and go to their website, poweringgeorgia.com, or buzz them at 770-853-7571. Use the discount code Bailey, my last name, and get $500 off your entire installation. All right? Servicing Georgia and Tennessee. Again, another great sponsor of the BS podcast that is going to come to your aid here during storm season. And I'm talking about Cliff Bratcher and Jayco Contracting. This one hits home for me because I needed advice from Cliff and Jayco Contracting when my mother got a hole in her roof. Now, Jayco Contracting helping the good folks out in Georgia. And if you're in Georgia, you call him this storm season just to know that you're going to be taken care of when that tree falls through your roof or your shingles come off or a hole somehow appears. works, right? They are a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, licensed and insured roofing and gutter specialists covering all of Georgia. Keep in mind, if you've not gone through this process, Cliff and Jayco Contracting are going to take care of it from start to finish. That means dealing with the insurance companies. That can be a headache and a negotiation, and they're the best to do it. Commercial and residential satisfaction guaranteed. JaycoContracting.com, or 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You give Cliff Brasher a call at 770-316-3876. Alive Ozone Therapy Spa in Altamont Springs, Florida. This is mine and my wife's wellness spa. If you have an autoimmune, cancer, HIV, just simple biohacking, long COVID, the answer is yes to just about anything that's going on in your body. Most of the time it starts with inflammation, and ozone therapy, it decreases inflammation. So ozone therapy, we are the first and only to do it in Central Florida. That is a live ozone therapy spa. We also offer red light therapy, halo therapy, pressotherapy, PMF grounding mat, as well as naturally in-house made ozone infused products like the magnesium butter that many of you absolutely love. Ozone therapy, what is it? Quickly, it repairs and rejuvenates your cells to the mitochondrial level by using activated oxygen. Simple as that. No side effects. That's all there is to it. It's a 30-minute session, and you actually burn up to 600 calories when you're in the Hocket sauna. We do it the most non-invasive way. So whether you're in the area or you want to travel, book an appointment, aliveozonetherapyspa.com. All the products you can get there as well. And remember, for you two peers, use the discount code BS10 to take that off those online products. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, reach out to me via thebaileyshow.com. And if you are a listener of this podcast and you need any of our great sponsors, please reach out to them. Now, let's begin.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. And that's some stories.
Yeah, let's do it. Welcome to the Vinyl Road Podcast.
All right, there it is. Episode 11 of the Vinyl Road Podcast, all on the BPX, the Bailey Podcast Exchange. 3 different shows, 5 days a week, one feed. Your details, jasonbailey.com. Thanks to our title sponsor, Once Upon a Coconut. I'm trying to do product placement in the back here. Once Upon a Coconut, onceuponacoconut.com. Use the discount code BS Podcast 10 at checkout to save some Geetuses, and you can put in your city or zip code and find out where exactly nearest you, wherever you're listening, you can get your Once Upon a Coconut if you don't want to order online. All right. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey, and there's the man himself, Mr. Brad Stewart. How are you, Mr. Brad Stewart?
Feeling good, feeling good. How about you? Doing all right?
Good. Yeah, I'm trying to find the applause for you.
Oh.
I got them on different pages. I got to figure that out. I got to move it around where I got the Vinyl Road bed music and the applause stuff. So when I say Brad Stewart, I can quickly go, I sound like we know what we're doing here.
You got it. You got it. We're working through it, man. It's all good.
We'll
figure it out.
Working through the kinks.
We're still brand new, man. I look at some of my friends in radio and stuff, and they're like, yeah, this is episode number 258. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. That's fucking doing it right there, man.
I'm
on
almost
11. You know,
I'm almost at 400 with the BS, and that's
a lot.
And that's light because I think I miscount it somewhere in there. So I think I'm at like 500 or 600 episodes with the BS. Damn. Yeah, it's been a minute. Did you know? You want to hear an interesting podcast statistic that there's over 1 million podcasts that exist. If you have 30 or more episodes consecutively, you're automatically in the top 5%. And if you have 1 million downloads or more, you're in the top 1%. Isn't that crazy?
I always wanted to be in the top 1%. You know?
Well, I mean, we got to get there, but I mean, like
maybe one day, right? You know.
So the BS, the show that like my radio show used to be on, that I release on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have over 1 million downloads for that, and so that would be in the top 1%. We on the Vinyl Road Podcast, even though it's all in one feed, if we do 19 more episodes, which we will, then we'll automatically be in the top 5%. Long ways to 1 million, but we're getting there.
All right. Well,
what are you thinking? Like how do we get there faster?
I mean, is there a fast track pass like at Disney or at the Universal where we can just sort of, or I don't know,
dude? If there were, bro, I would pay a large amount of money to find out. I have no idea what the trick is. I have I don't know how everybody does it. I mean, I just grind.
I was gonna say, just keep chugging along, man. We're getting good at this. I think.
We're getting good.
We're finally. I mean, I'm having fun either way. So it's I know you do a lot more than I do in this situation with the podcasting thing. I mean, I don't know how I would fit that in honestly with my life as much as I literally just got back from a show in Wisconsin, and I'm like, oh, my head's still kind of spinning from the travel and the show and getting back and getting some rest, and we don't have any shows for a couple of weeks, and then it starts though, and then it's like a month and a half out there.
Well, the tour starts on the 22nd or 29th of August?
29th. Yeah, so I'm actually moving my son Noah into his apartment on Friday down in Orlando. So
he's living here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is he going to UCF or something?
UCF. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. So this weekend, thankfully, was off, so I could help him get down there. He was in the dorms last year, and then this year he's going to be in an apartment. So with like 4 or 5 other dudes.
Yeah.
Those days, man.
Where
its own fraternity.
What apartment? Like, did he say?
They're pretty new, man. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they're like right next to campus, so he won't be far. And he's got one of those high boy scooters. We got him. Mm-hmm. So because last year, a lot of his classes were like a 25. UCF's huge, dude. So it was like a 25-minute, 30-minute walk. But you're on the high boy and you're going 20 miles an hour. He could get there in 5 or 10 minutes. So that was a good purchase. I recommend the electric scooter, even though there's no way really to look cool on an electric scooter. You kind of look like a dork, but whatever. You get the fuck where you're going.
Somebody got run over. A kid got run over the first day of school the other day.
Shit.
Yeah, on an e-bike. Yeah, so careful. Wear a helmet and watch out for cars coming at you. When I went to UCF, it was still a transient school. I graduated in 97 and I transferred there in 95. And, I lived in the fraternity house for a year, and then I moved to Knights Crossing, which was brand new at the time, and had a girlfriend in Heather's Glen and all these old apartment complexes. Now it's like a fucking city.
Dude.
Like, it's crazy how big. I mean, they didn't even have a campus on Stadium when I went there, and that was the Dante Culpepper years. CVI, you know about CVI? It's like an old hotel that's next to the Burger King. It still exists. And that's where I first moved in. I was like, dude, this is the coolest thing ever. I have a room that I walk out my door and there's a pool. Like, where am I right now? And then it would be a party every single day. Chicks at the pool, beer at the pool, people partying at night. It was a constant party. I'm like, this is awesome. This is what
I was just trying to look and find it. I can't fucking find it, man. Sorry, dude. I mean, I want him to party, but I don't really want him to party that much. I mean, and I think kids, we went hard in the paint, dude. When I was in, I know you did too. I was like, man, like, and thankfully, like, I don't think he really even likes to drink or anything or do anything like, and he's super smart. He's doing like computer engineering, and he's got a 4.0. I mean, he got all A's since he's been at UCF, and so now though, some of the harder classes are going to start happening, like differential equations and like, some deep shit as far as the math and the science part of it goes. But I mean, if you're partying too hard, you start fucking up, like you got to keep it between the lines. And thankfully so far he's been good and respectful of our wishes for him to do well.
People are laughing at you for making that comment going, yep, that's what he's good. It made you think that. Look, but I subscribe to the same theory with my daughter. We just took her up to the University of Alabama, moved her into a house. She's got 4 other girls that she's living with that are part of her sorority. She's doing the sorority rush thing, which if anybody's been on the internet, it is a thing. I mean, with these girls, and now they're, like they all have this common theme of wearing jeans. A lot of it has to do, I think, with the American Eagle controversy and video and the Sydney Sweeney stuff like that. But my daughter has the same thought process. It's a different, for a guy and a girl. I mean, you're going to be, for a dad to his daughter, you're terrified, right? Yeah. But she's told us, she's like, I don't want to be the girl that sloppy drunk walking out of a bar. Yeah. She's too smart for that. She goes, one, they're ugly. Like she's a beautiful girl. She doesn't want to look ugly. So I'm like, whatever makes you not do that, that's fine. And she's like, God, you never know what's going to happen. And this and that, it's not safe. And I'm like, You're smart. Don't do that. Right. That's good. So she'll have a drink, maybe 2, but she's not sloppy stiletto carrying 2:30 in the morning shit, which is great.
Walk of shame type shit.
Yeah. No walk of shame.
Yeah.
Not happening. So if your son needs anything when he's, at school,
Okay.
I'm right up the street. So
I appreciate that. Absolutely. I may have to take you up on that. I mean, him and his buddies, they go to the gym. They're pretty low, as far as I know. They're pretty, low profile type kids, and they a couple of them went to high school together. So we got some, and we know their parents, a couple of them. So thankfully, it's not like a room full of strangers that he's having to deal with. He knows some of these people, and so do we. So that's good.
Well, if he wants like a home cooked meal, not that I do much of it, but I'd smoke a brisket for him. Or if he wants to come over and use the pool, he just needs to get out of Dodge and just relax, or a quiet place to study, and just get away from campus. He's more than welcome to come to our house. We've got a guest room, we got a pool, we got food, whatever he needs. I'll give him the code to get into the house, and he can do whatever he wants. So,
wow, that's awesome, man. Appreciate that. That's insane. I'll tell him. He won't believe me. So I'm gonna have to show him this recording. Now it's been documented. You're stuck now, dude.
I know what it's like, man. Sometimes you just need some, getaway time, and I don't want to go all the way back to Jacksonville. I'm not that far up the street, so it's like, yeah, just come over, chill out, and you can stay the night, watch TV, watch football, hang out by the pool, eat some food. You don't have to pay for anything, obviously. Just relax and get away from it all, So,
well, at least this year he's not sharing a room, because last year at the dorm it was him and his buddy Jacob, but at least they knew each other. But they shared in the same room, it was like a bunk room basically, and then a couple other guys the room was connected, and they shared the one bathroom. So it's like, dude.
So what are
dudes? It's college. I get it, but it's like, at least this year he'll have his own room, his own bathroom, and then they share the common area. The kitchen and in that part, and the living room and stuff. So, but I mean, at the dorms, his roomies were hellraisers. They took the couch out of the common area and put it in their room, and the people were like, hey, has anyone seen the couch? That went in the TV, that the entertainment area in the dorm, and they would knock on people's door. I mean, they're just fucking raising hell like college kids do.
What do his friends think that your son's dad is a rock star?
They don't fucking care, man.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of them are like, wow, that's your dad? My folks listen to Shinedown. And I'm like, man, all right, whatever. It's like when we're at the hotel. Yeah, I think my dad listens to classic rock, like Korn. And I was like, you bitch. That means, I'm not quite in the classic rock category, but fuck, it's coming, man.
Well, that's good that your dad still does that stuff, and that music's still around. That's really cool that your dad.
Yeah, he's not in the grave yet. He's not in the fucking old folks home. I'm glad to hear it. Lady dude.
Did he know the Beach Boys? Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I love the Beach Boys. Yeah, right.
It's funny because my daughter and I had that conversation of actually Rach and I talked about it on the Honey episode, I think this week, is that she's familiar with the older music, right? When I say older, I'm talking pre 2000s and even pre 90s, even the 80s, because I'm an 80s fan. So big Poison fan. And she's been up on stage with Bret Michaels and, that whole shebang, through my years in radio and what I listen to and what I sing along to in the car, whether it's Queen or Van Halen or Poison or, Motley Crue or even Trickster or Enough's Enough. I mean, just you name it.
Trickster, dude, come on, man.
Really good.
That's brutal shit. No way. Never, man. That's like, I won't say shit because I'm in the business, but man, that's a tough one for me.
Damn Yankees, dude, come on.
Damn Yankees were fucking badass. Tesla, I mean,
Tesla,
Tesla, they were great, man. I mean, fucking the Cult, like Guns N' Roses, like shit like that. Yes, all day. But some of that hair stuff, man. you see some of those old videos. I think MTV will play them even now.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about those guys. And it was like, God, who was I'm trying to think of? Like, oh man, just brutal. It's like it was like the tail end of it when like they were just signing anybody that could play the guitar and that had hair, like and fucking sprayed it up with Aquanet, and the songs were weak, and it was just getting so just diluted and
Oh,
fucking.
wait a
It's
minute. Hold
bad,
on for a
dude.
second. The songs, maybe some of them, but every generation's got weak songwriting. Look, dude,
Ah.
Heaven from Warrant is a great song, right? Is a great song.
Okay, all right,
You know,
I'll give you that
now
one.
some of the cheesy stuff, Give It To Me Good, or that kind of stuff, maybe, very, very easily fabricated. I get it.
Cherry
But
Pie.
but
Cherry Pie. At least
Cherry
the video was good for Cherry Pie.
Cherry
That
Pie.
was a saving grace for me when it would come on fucking 10 times an hour,
But Uncle Tom's Cabin is a
Great song.
well-written song. Great
Yeah,
song, right?
Great song.
Seeing Red is a great song.
Yeah.
So, Every Rose Has Its Thorn, great song.
Great song.
House of Pain by Faster Pussycat, maybe
yeah.
the best ballad of the generation, tied with Every Rose Has Its Thorn. That is a phenomenal song, right? So it's not all that bad. But my point is I know all that stuff by heart.
Yeah.
So my daughter grew up listening to it. So she's at college and going to the bars with her friends. And these bars are playing this music. Thank God we've got normalcy back in this country, right? So it's not all just rappy stuff. And they're playing like the older rock stuff. And she's the only one that she'll go up on stage, do karaoke or whatever the place, Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head. And they're like, what the shit? How do you know that? Not a damn it, gotta pay my rent. And she's like, what the shit, girl? I'm like, yeah, give me a data boy. I instilled that in you. You know what I mean?
Dude, when we got my son Noah his guitar, and next thing you know, he's playing Nirvana and Alice in Chains and shit. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh man, there's hope for the future. He's discovered it, man, finally. And we were in the car the other day, and God, what came on? It was, I mean, he likes Radiohead. He likes a bunch of shit, but it was Jeff Buckley. I was like, you like Jeff Buckley, dude?
Wow.
Like he's like, there's not a bad song on this record. His voice is just so incredible, and I was like, oh, thank God, like there's hope, man. Like fuck.
Yeah.
It's like Jeff Buckley. I mean, most people, he died. It's just, he didn't have a whole lot out there, before he passed. So
yeah,
for him to discover that, I thought was huge.
Yeah. That makes you feel like my son learned to play guitar by listening. He never had lessons.
Same with Noah. I mean, well, he kind of watches YouTube, but
right. Say, yeah, YouTube or something like that.
Yeah.
And, I never had that, for those that are new to me, I'm a stepdad. So these are my stepchildren, but so I have no musical talent whatsoever, but to see my son do that and just start listening to songs, and he got into classic rock, Skynyrd and Zeppelin and stuff like that, just by me talking about it. I would get him. He started collecting vinyls, which kind of brings us to one of the things we want to talk about here. And he got so into vinyls that he would listen to it and then learn from the vinyls. And I'm like, dude, why are you buying vinyls? And I was like, I know they're kind of trendy, but his generation, which I call the GameStop generation, which I'm not a huge fan of. He's 24 right now. So that generation, and I don't know if they're all like this. I mean, these are the kids that kind of stayed inside, played Xbox, hated sunlight, those kinds of things, didn't know what sexuality they were, no body shaming, that generation kind of thing.
Which bathroom to piss in?
Which bathroom? I mean, it was I feel so bad for those kids to grow up in that generation. It was like literally one of the worst generations of all time. Anyway, with that being said, he's a tangible guy, so he would keep DVDs, he would keep CDs, he didn't like when the gaming systems went to the downloads. He liked to actually have the tangible games. And so the vinyl stuff was his thing and still is his thing now. He's got like 3 different record players. My mom bought him one from like the 60s or 70s or something. It was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
I was kind of like that. Again, we don't have the same DNA, but it's kind of neat to see that resurgence of the vinyls. This week, by the way, was National Vinyl Day, and this episode's released on Friday. So Saturday, the 18th, is National Record Store Day. But we've seen over the past, 15 years, the resurgence of vinyls and records. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jack White has a vinyl pressing plant up in Michigan that's quite successful. Oddly enough, myself and Andy Anderson, who was in Fuel with me, and Peter Keys from Skynyrd, Ryan Roxy from Alice Cooper and Paul from Blackberry Smoke all partnered together, and we were going to have our own vinyl pressing plant called Nashville Vinyl.
Wow.
And we all invested money, and we put money. We got the building, we bought the machines, and they were going to be delivered, and or at least we put money down on the presses. We were going to be able to press 45s and the big LPs, So, and then COVID hit. And yeah, it was a kick in the nuts, man. It was going to be, I thought it was going to be a really cool thing to be a part of, because it was like, by artists, actually artist owned company, pressing vinyls. And just from experience being in the bands I've been in, whenever we put out a record and we want to have vinyl, pressed for the fans to buy, typically you would have to get it from somewhere overseas, right? So then you add shipping to the cost of just the basic pressing of the thing. And that would be a 3 to 6 month wait. So you put your record out and everyone's like, hey, do you have a vinyl, a vinyl version of the record? And we're like, well, we will, but it's going to be 6 months, and then and sometimes it'd be 9 months, whatever it was. So we felt like there was a demand for sure for it to have something here. And there's a couple, around in the United States, but there's a lot more, I guess, in like Germany and places like that, but so yeah, unfortunately our dreams of owning our own it was going to be cool though too. It was we plan on having like a studio there where you could record, and then like a bar or slash like a microbrewery type place. It was like gonna be all in one. We could hang, you could watch your record being made, you could
That's cool.
record shit. I mean, it was a great idea. It honestly was, man. And I think one of the partners may have taken the idea and ran with it after we dissolved the Nashville.
Yeah. I that would be, anytime I hear like a story like that, I think of that thing you do with Tom Hanks and the Wonders, where they go to the church and they've got the microphones all sitting out. And then they press the record afterwards and they get the, little 45s. And so that's kind of cool. But I don't know, like, do you have to, in order to press a record for another artist? I mean, there's probably a lot of red tape that would have to, it's almost like signing a band, right? In order to press their music and sell it? Or is it just
well, we press it for them to sell, like at their shows and stuff, and like for their own merch. I mean, they and the thing with vinyl too is you have to actually mix the record for vinyl because of the way the needle hits the grooves, the low frequencies. There's a different like sort of bandwidth that has to be accounted for when you're doing vinyl versus CD or cassettes, of course. So there's that. Well, also what happened was there's like a mold. There's like a master sort of whenever you're making vinyl records. And there was a couple of companies, I believe it was in California, and it burned down. And there was only like one other one that made the actual, it's called, the name of it's escaping me, but it's basically like the template from which the record's going to be pressed from. Well, the company that made that here in the United States fucking burned down.
Wow.
So then you were going to have to get that from Japan to then just, it was a lot, dude. And then you had to have like a boiler. You had to have all this equipment to run these machines alongside of it. It's wax. It is, man. So there was a lot involved, but I mean, the folks involved did the research, and it was looking good, man. And then, like I said, then all of a sudden, COVID hits, and now nobody's touring, let alone having records pressed, like because they didn't know when they'd be able to tour again. It was fucking 6 months,
But what I was saying is like pressing, like almost pirating music, like Napstering. You take a song off a computer. Like, let's say take a Saliva song, like, and then press it. I couldn't do that and sell it, is what I'm saying.
No. I mean, you definitely, then now your trademark, your copyright infringement, that's illegal shit. Yeah. But it would have been for, people, that like say Saliva's coming out with their, Revelation Retold. We would send the master recording to the vinyl pressing plant. They would press X number of copies. I think the minimum was maybe 500 or maybe it was 1,000 to make it worthwhile for everybody to as far as everything went. So And then, we had to get this also the shrink wrap machine to shrink wrap them in the
Yeah.
plastic, all that we had to buy the certain, and we were going to be like this green company too, which was very look good on paper. It was like, well, we were going to be very environmental, just environmentally sound and friendly and all this shit. And I mean, I got to give it to my guys. They were smart with that part. But there was just all this shit that goes into making those records that you would never think of. And I just think back, I'm like, back when all there was vinyl, how much material they had to go through to make all those records. Like, say Led Zeppelin 4 sold 10 million vinyl or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's a fucking lot of plastic, dude. That's a lot. That's crazy to get your head around that. Also knowing those machines can only do so much in a day. And then especially back then. Yeah, exactly. So
for those that can't comprehend that, because how easy it is to get music today with just within seconds uploading it to your computer, and then millions of people have access to it. What Brad is saying is, like, again, take like Zeppelin, selling, let's just say 1 million copies, just for conversation's sake.
Yeah.
You would have to have somebody make 1 million of these. It's not just only the records being made. You have the covers, which were just as important as the records in a lot of ways. And then the shrink wrap, if it even had shrink wrap,
the sleeve that it goes in, all that stuff.
Yeah. And then the distribution to get it to the record store. Nobody was buying these online. Online didn't exist.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Maybe if you were a part of a club, they would send you one or two or something like that. But then you would have to have distribution to the record stores. I mean, just to think of that process is crazy. But again, now people are going to record stores that are popping up more and more to buy these albums. And record stores, if you've not been into a record store lately, they're always owned by the coolest OG hippie from like the 70s. Yeah. They don't give a shit if you buy it or not, and they'll haggle with you, and they love their music, but they're just like, bro, man, dude, I don't have the Beatles' White Album, man. Stop asking me, dude. They're all like that. Every single one of them.
Everyone I've been into, on the road too. I know I told you I have a mountain bike, but I will make it a point to go to those stores. We were just in the Indianapolis, and right by the venue that we were playing, it's called Indie CD and Vinyl. I think I wore it on the show. I walk around I go right around the corner, and I'm looking for stuff. I'm like looking for just rare stuff, and a lot of times I'll have like the rare expensive shit out so you can see it. You're not having to dig through shit. But Bobby's always like, man, if you can find like Limp Bizkit's Significant Other or like the first record, $3 bill, y'all. Tell me, and I'll buy the damn thing, because there's certain rare shit like limited. If you get a first pressing too, that's something, man, for some of these bands.
Rarest vinyl records. All right, that's a good question. All right, you ready? The rarest vinyl records are often one-of-a-kind releases or limited editions with unique characteristics, making them highly sought after by collectors. Some examples include Wu-Tang Clan's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. Okay.
All right. Didn't see that one coming. But okay.
Which exists as a single copy. Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind.
Okay.
Unique recording. The Beatles' White Album with Ringo Starr's personal number 0000001 copy. And the Quarrymen's That'll Be the Day are highly priced. Interesting.
Wow. I actually, my father owned, and I have his record collection now. He's since passed, but I have the Beatles' White Album. I wonder if it's the number one. It's probably not. But he had some good shit though. He had Jimi Hendrix, All You Experienced. He had some. I was like, well, I mean, he was in law enforcement, and he had some pretty hippy dippy, drug use shit.
Here's some other notable rare records. Motorhead, self-titled, first pressing with swastika, a limited first pressing with a controversial design. The Beatles, From Me to You. VJ 522 1963, sought after early Beatles release. Toad, self-titled, a highly valued jazz rock album. Alchemist, Israeli Salad, Avocado Color, a rare hip-hop record with a unique color variant. Bob Dylan, the freewheeling Bob Dylan Withdrawn Tracks, and then Mirkwood, 1973, a rare British rock album with a high value for the original pressing. That's crazy. But I mean, even some like outside of those that might be worth thousands or millions of dollars, like you go in there and you try to buy, albums from artists that are popular, they're charging 50, 60, $70.
They really are.
Yeah, I mean, they're not cheap. And there's also recordings on vinyl. I didn't know this until about a year ago. My mother was in a record shop looking to buy our son's a couple records, and she's, got a fixed income, and she's like, I can only spend X amount of dollars. I'm like, cool. So I get the guy, and I'm like, I'll talk to you. My mother's elderly. She's kind of clueless, but can you walk me through this? And he's like, yeah, sure. Not a problem. But there were like, we got a live Metallica album that was like from the late 70s or early 80s or something. It was like, I just thought that was really cool. There's more unique albums in vinyls than I think CDs ever had or cassettes ever had.
Oh, totally. Because they would press way more of those, I mean, supply and demand. But I started buying up like all the CDs. I started as part of me going around to vinyl stores when I'm on the road. I got like of course, the first Korn record. I got I got some Skinner over there. I got some Alice in Chains stuff and Metallica. I think I got Garage Days. Fucking, it's just cool because I think and I knew, or at least had hoped, that sooner or later the tangible aspect of buying music would come back, right? Like it was always, you buy this big record and it's like this thing, it's got pictures and the liner notes and where it was recorded and all that stuff. And then that shrunk down to like 8-track and then eventually cassette and then eventually CD, whatever. And then to streaming where you don't own anything. You rent the music almost. You stream the music. You don't have a physical copy of shit. It's all in a cloud somewhere, and you pick it out and you fucking. So, and then, then there's a resurgence. And now the kids, even like I said, my sons were wanting to buy vinyl records. They don't even have a record player. And they're wanting to buy I have one up here, of course, but I'm like, anytime you come listen to the record, I got a fucking player up here. And they're like, well, I just think it's cool just to buy the record, have the physical thing in my hand,
And there's another thing to be said about that is when you owned, I grew up in the cassette to CD generation, right? So just like you did,
yeah.
But when I was a kid, it was records, I got to experience the records into the 8-track, into the cassette, into the CD, and the attempt at the mini CD. And then, you go to the streaming stuff. But
well, actually, you forgot the iPod.
The iPod. Well,
there was a crucial step. Well, actually, right. The Sony Walkman. Well, that was actually CD still, though. But yeah, there was a time where everyone had an iPod.
Yes, and Microsoft tried to have their own. What was it called, like Zoom or something like that?
I can't remember what it failed miserably.
I still have the mini iPod in my workout bag.
I have the one. Yeah, where you would dial the fucking thing around. There was no pictures. OG shit, bro. The white one. Yeah. You had it would go. Like almost like a fucking rotary phone or something when you're looking for songs and shit, dude.
Yeah, the mini one, when they came out with that was the last iPod that they actually had a radio on it. So there was a portion. You go on there and you could hit radio and listen. Like it was, obviously Apple killed terrestrial radio. Or helped kill terrestrial radio, I should say. But it was really helpful, especially like when you go to certain gyms and in order to watch certain televisions on the screens when you're doing cardio, you have to go to the frequency based off. So I'm sitting, thought that was
pretty cool though. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Again, pre-Netflix, pre-YouTube TV and all those other things. So it's back in the day type of thing. But here's with the tangible music versus the streaming, you made me think of something, is that, there's a generation or generations that don't understand the responsibility of taking care of your music. Do you ever remember like losing an album or a CD or a cassette or somebody stealing or taking it or borrowing it and you not remembering it? It was a thing, right? You would get upset. You'd get pissed. You're like, man, that was $12, $13 that I spent. I'm out of it. Now, if you lose a song or an entire album, you're just like, I'll just download it again. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Or when they would scratch the CD.
scratch the
I'm
CD.
like, you fucking scratched my record. And then it'd get to like the most crucial part of your favorite song and it would glitch out and shit. And then you remember the CD cleaner?
Yeah.
You could actually, and they got all fucking dirty or
Or the
scratched
hacks.
up.
The hacks.
Kind of, was it?
The hacks, like people go, you put mayonnaise on it, it'll clear.
Right. Or hey, yeah. There's a special thing or a special cloth that helps fill in the cracks.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
What CD do you remember owning that was the most played, that had the most scratches on? Do you remember? Like, where you
got
had
a whole rack full of them. I'm that kind of guy too. I keep everything. I don't know if I could get my camera over there. It'd be weird, but I want to say I bought the Dirt record probably 3 or 4 times, if not 5. Definitely Bad Motorfinger several times. Probably Nirvana, Nevermind. I'm a grunge kid, man. Guns N' Roses, I did okay. Appetite for sure.
First CD ever bought?
I think it was Metallica's Kill 'Em All, or it was Van Halen's 1984. I was 10, and my parents were allowing me to buy my own music back then, and I was a skater kid, and I was.
So that was the first.
We usually hang around guys that were already into Metallica and shit like that, But the first concert that I went to was Tina Turner with Mr.
Wow.
Mister. Yeah,
really?
I went with my my mom and shit.
Broken wings. You learn to fly again.
Yeah. People they expected me to say Slayer or something. I'm like, well, it's actually Tina Turner. She was fucking great though, man. Like she would talk to the, she'd come up on the Jumbotron and she's back there and her hair's all fucking crazy and total rock star. She was badass, dude. And she came out, there was no tracks running or no bullshit. She was fucking singing her ass off, and it was great, man. I mean, it was at the old Jacksonville Coliseum before they redid the Coliseum, and that Coliseum was one of those where they had no rigging. So if you were going to have a show, they had to come and pre-rig to where they could then hang shit. It was so just like a dinosaur, dude. So finally they ripped the shit down, and now it's Veterans Memorial. But I saw Alice in Chains open for Van Halen, and I was in 11th grade at that venue. And
oddly enough, Shinedown opened for Van. That's kind of a cool.
Well, it was kind of a cool thing because I was in 11th grade. I was watching them. They got 30 minutes, and it was the Facelift record. And me and my buddy Jeff, which I mentioned Jeff before, he's the one that got me into playing bass, Jeff Winston. And we're in there, and we're there to see Alice in Chains. We're tits about it. We're hook, line, and sinker. We like Van Halen, of course, but it was cool. But so then fast forward to they bulldoze the arena, and then they rebuild Veterans, and Shinedown did tour with Van Halen, and we ended our tour in Los Angeles, but there was a Jacksonville show a couple months later, and we talked them into letting us open the Jacksonville show for them. So it was like a total like life 180 360 thing, just like wow, this is surreal. Now I mean, there's a kid watching me up here that may end up in a band that's doing the same shit. I mean, it's cool, man, to think about.
I was first concert for me was the Capitol Center in DC. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I think I was 10 or 11 years old. Relax, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep. It was my neighbor he was older than me and invited me. He said an extra chicken. I had no idea what I was doing. And then when I was like 12 or 13, my real first concert was Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, that was also my very first cassette was the sports album from Huey Lewis and the News. My grandmother was like, oh, do they talk sports? She thought it was a sports broadcast, and then it was Poison and Slaughter. After that, so and so forth. But my first piece of music that I ever bought, and again, remember, I have an older brother, 10 years older, that introduced me to rock and roll when I was a kid. So I was introduced to rock and roll, Judas Priest, Zebra, Van Halen, Aerosmith, Maiden. Those were the bands that I was introduced to.
Fuck yeah.
And it was all skulls and crossbones. And in those days, if you had long hair, to tattoo, you were the enemy. Smoke cigarettes, leather jacket. But if you were skulls or anything like that, you were a thug. You were that generation's thug. That's how my brother dressed. And I always thought it was cool. And I'm sitting here all nerded up because my mother was dressing me like I was going to prep school. And I hated it. She wouldn't allow me to dress like that. So went to, I think it was Montgomery Ward's and I got my first piece of music. She allowed me to buy my first piece of music to play in her Chevy Cordova that had an 8-track player.
Sick.
And I looked at this white 8-track, and the album cover was red and black with this scary skull guy with wings riding a motorcycle, looked like out of hell. It was bad out of hell. Meatloaf.
Oh man,
Was my first.
Meatloaf, dude.
It was Meatloaf,
Wow.
8-track, Huey Lewis cassette, and then my first CD, New Kids on the Block. And then my second, I followed it up with GNR's Appetite for Destruction. So
You're all over the place, man. Holy shit.
I was trying to find my bathroom. All right. I was trying to find myself.
Imagine if you could find those old 8-tracks. My dad had some, and I guess we got rid of them. I mean, he had but he was into like folk music, like back in the. I mean, he's into a lot of different stuff, but like Gordon Lightfoot. Remember Gordon Lightfoot?
Sure, of course, yeah.
Great singer songwriter, dude.
Phenomenal.
James Taylor, of course. Jim Croce, which of course,
yeah.
which white person from back then wasn't into Jim. Even Snoop Dogg makes fun of that shit. He's like, "Y'all gonna go listen to your Jim Croce records?" And
Croce.
That's what he called Croce. Yeah, but I mean, and fucking, I mean, it's almost like, remember when there was Laserdisc and Beta and all that shit, like some of the things that just never worked.
Right.
Remember the big picture disc things that were digital or whatever.
No,
no one bought those. Like, what happened to all those that they made? What happened to them?
They're in a dump somewhere. In the middle.
Probably right.
Well, what I liked about not only really the CD generation, the Jewel generation, CD, that's what it's called, a Jewel case, right?
Yeah.
Is that I prided myself on learning the lyrics to not just the hit songs, but to the entire album, because I never wanted to be the guy in the car that didn't know the words to the song. So I would, as soon as I got an album, I would bring it home. I'd open the Jewel case. I'd pull out the artwork, the paperwork, and it's a tri plus fold, and then you look and all that kind of stuff. And like, one of the coolest things in my career was being mentioned by you guys in Shinedown on the first album, getting credit, thanks to Buckethead. That was like the coolest thing in the world. I'm like, holy shit, like, I've made it. That's awesome. I'm on a platinum selling album. Actually, the record's behind me. You can see it.
See it back there, dude. Yeah.
All the ones above it, So like, that was cool to me, but to learn the lyrics and to have the lyrics, like, it's a little bit different now because it's almost too easy, right? It's like, all right, I liked the new whatever album. I just downloaded it. Now I'm going to go and Google the lyrics, and I'm going to sit in front of my computer and learn them. I don't think people do that. But when I see kids listening to like rap songs where I can't even understand what the fuck they're saying, they know every word in the song, and they've learned to self-edit the N-word if they're white. It's crazy. It's absolutely, and I don't know how they learn it. I just don't, because they're not reading.
Well, now they have the lyric videos on YouTube, so you can just, as it's going along, you're seeing the words. Yeah, I mean, that may help. I mean,
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
supposedly. Do you remember, like, maybe your favorite or go-to albums, like ones that stuck out when you were a kid? I mean, I would have been, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish, going through my mother's records, vinyls, and two of them stand out. But do you have like that memory?
Well, at that age, when I couldn't buy my own shit, you're kind of stuck, with whatever they're allowing you to listen to, of course,
Right.
Alabama. Remember Alabama?
Of course. Yeah.
And the Oak Ridge Boys.
Boom. Every white suburban parent had I'm so glad.
You gotta fucking love the Oak Ridge Boys. Are great, man. They're fucking awesome.
Mow.
Oh, pity up.
My heart's on
fire. Elvira. Right? Dude, they had killer harmonies. The dude with the low voice, man. He was bad.
Dude, he was awesome. That's all he did in the band. He was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that was the shit. I mean, I'm trying to think what else in that time period, that she would listen to. My dad, like I said, he was more into like not more like folk, kind of acoustic-y type stuff,
Yeah.
But definitely Oak Ridge Boys. God, who else from that time in country music? would it have been besides Alabama and Oak Ridge Boys? Kenny Rogers, dude.
Kenny Rogers, Dolly
Kenny Rogers.
George
Yes.
Strait, yeah.
George Strait.
Oh, Islands in the Stream. I mean, like Karen Carpenter.
Well, Islands in the Stream, the Bee Gees wrote that for them.
Right, yeah. So, but that song, I mean, it like, again, white suburban parents, that was that was the go-to lovey-dovey song, right?
Yeah.
So, you had the Grease soundtrack without a doubt.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You had
the Bee Gees were great though, man. That was another one where everyone's like Death Before Disco. I was like, I kind of like this shit. Like the bass lines were killer, and the fucking was it Barry Gibb had the super high voice? Was it Barry?
Justin Timberlake does him really good on Saturday Night Live. Right?
Oh, he's great.
Yeah,
dude.
They
were great, man.
But my mother, I remember there was 3 albums that stood out as a kid. Like I had the Muppets album, so it was I remember it was a silver album cover, and that got played a lot. The Oak Ridge Boys, we just reminisced because every white suburban family had the Oak Ridge Boys album. And then Jesus Christ Superstar. Oh. That was for some reason always played, and we weren't a very religious household, but there's a song on that album that if you were to play it today, and I don't remember which song it is, if you were to play it today, I would know the entire song. It was really, really catchy. And I can't think of it for the life of me, but again, I'm 50 and I'm talking about when I was 10, going back to those albums.
I actually saw Jesus Christ Superstar at the Florida Theater. We went on a field trip when I was a kid, and it was live, like at the theater performance of Jesus Christ Superstar, man. And I have to admit, it was pretty good, man. It was like whoever did the production and the acting, it was. I was shocked, because a lot of times those things kind of can go over you. It's like kind of going to watch the symphony or something. It's pretty good, but
I think the song is called "What's the Buzz." That might be because Andrew Lloyd Webber did a lot of the music for that,
right?
The great Andrew Lloyd Webber.
He's badass.
Yeah, so I think it's called "What's the Buzz," but a lot of those songs on there are so radio friendly. They're 2-3 minutes long, so it keeps your attention span short. But those are the 3 albums that I remember. Then I wanted to get into the rock and roll. Got Meatloaf, and I always liked Huey Lewis and the News. And so it's funny, when
Huey Lewis is great, dude.
Oh my God, Huey in concert. So here's a funny story about the Huey Lewis and the News concert. Again, this is my second concert that I'd ever gone to. I was 12-ish years old, maybe 13. I was living in Naples, Florida, and my one of the parents dropped us all off. Yeah, I was in 6th grade. So they dropped us off in Fort Myers. They were performing in Fort Myers, Florida. And I didn't know how to dress. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect, blah, 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 blah. So I just started becoming quote unquote fashionable. And I was a chunky kid when I was so I'm wearing Guess jeans and this yellow button up short sleeve Guess shirt and a Guess jean jacket.
Oh.
Yeah, and Florida.
Did you have any bling on, like any silver or gold? I think gold chains were kind of thing back then, right?
Gold chains with charms. Had charms, and you'd put a bunch of charms on there.
Yeah.
So I had that rocking, and then boat shoes, Bass boat shoes or something. But I'm at a rock concert inside, and it's in Florida. It was hot, and then I had to buy Huey Lewis and the News shirt, right? So I've got that, I think, on top of the yellow shirt, something like that, and then I'm in the pit, just I'm up front and I'm sweating so much and there's no room. I'm just stepping on other people's feet. And I remember I get pushed, my face gets pushed into this girl in front of me. She's got all this hair and it's stuck to my face and I'm peeling it off. And I'll never forget, I turn around to the guy next to me. He's like, dude, how was it? Till the day I die, if I were to run into that guy today on the streets, I would know exactly who he is.
Dude, how was it? It's like Spicoli voice. Dude, how was it, man?
He had a Huey Lewis on the News. He was like, dude, how was it, man? I'm like, at first I was like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Oh, you're talking dirty pornography stuff. Oh, okay, I got you.
I say, which side of her did you run into here? Which hair are you talking about? Is there something I'm missing here?
Nope.
Anyway,
You're good.
fuck,
You're good.
sorry.
So anyway,
Speaking of getting stuck to it,
yeah,
anyway, like in your
so,
teeth, you're picking it
yeah. So look, National Record Store Day and National Vinyl Day. It's cool. Like at first, when this thing started to become trendy, I wasn't a fan of it because I just thought it was a lot of posers and people, I don't know, not really loving it. But then, being around my son and watching him and his love for vinyls and going to the record stores with him and, seeing, it's fun to collect them, right? It's like baseball cards. It's fun to go out there and collect. And I think that if you're a vinyl collector, I would guess, and somebody feel free to correct me on social media, but I don't think I'm wrong on this. I would say if you're a vinyl collector of any age, you're a more eclectic music listener than most people, right? That makes sense?
yeah, I could see that. I mean, I think I wished I'd had done it and been kind of keeping up with it this whole time I've been in music because, man, I'd have I mean, I got a lot of CDs, but I mean, they're CDs. It's just not it's not the same,
Right.
I would have so many. Thankfully, I did inherit some from my father, and there's some good stuff in there. There's some stuff though that's just like, Peter, Paul, and Mary, just like shit that I mean, whatever. But then, like I said, there is some other good stuff in there. But Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and shit like that,
But vinyl collectors, when I say they're more eclectic, I think that they're buying them not just for the music, but they buy them for the art cover and then they discover the music. Like you might not have been a Bowie fan, but Bowie always had cool artwork, right? So you then buy, you're in a thrift store or an antique store and you see a Bowie album and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool, man.
Or you're buying for investment too, is like baseball cards where you're like, might not even like the band, but it's part of the collection, and now it's going to gain value and stuff like that. I mean, people, it's kind of like when they get like an instrument signed and then they hold on to it and then the artist dies.
Right.
And like, well, I have a signed Les Paul from Les Paul or whatever. I mean, have you ever seen Les Paul play the guitar? Look that shit up, dude. He was bad. He was a bad boy. He's finger picking and just the whole thing. He was, and people, he invented multi-track recording, right? Too. I mean, that was, yeah. I mean, without that, you're doing shit all together live at one time. And this dude, I mean, Les Paul was a phenomenal talent.
I wish I had a Les Paul guitar, like the first one he ever signed. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I revolutionized the electric guitar too, man. I mean,
sick to say, but I could use that paycheck right about now. No.
I mean, you both
anyway, before we get to a couple questions for Brad here, again, Saliva News, the big tour starts August 29th. You guys are aware?
I think that's the Rocklahoma date, if I'm not mistaken.
So the first date on the tour is Rocklahoma.
So it's not the tour package, it's us. And we've had that booked for months now. So when we designed the tour or started booking for the tour, that date, the other bands on our tour, I don't think are going to be on the Rocklahoma date with us, unfortunately. But that's our first date of that run that will become the tour. So yeah, I mean, and then we head up to Minnesota and for another festival type show, and then I guess the official tour. Let's see. Hold on.
I saw a video of Will Martin of Earshot, who has been on a couple times, getting ready. Who they're going to be on the tour with Saliva, as well as the founder, which is the original lead singer of Hinder and a newer band called Lilac. But Will is like like if you watch his social media, you can tell he's over the moon excited. I mean, it's been 15-ish years since the guys have been out on the road, right? You can tell he is like a kid in a candy shop. He's like, I can't believe it's happening again. It's happening again. This is the most amazing thing in the world. It's kind of, if I use a soft word, it's cute. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I think, yeah. I like to see his giddiness, man, and just his excitement. And it's, I mean, there's a lot of dates. It's going to be cool to watch them kind of get their sea legs back. And it may take a show or two. Even for us, it usually takes a couple shows to figure it out, especially with the, I'm sure there's going to be changes in the set. There's going to be different lighting. We're actually designing, Josh, our stage right guitarist, is designing, we're going to have a different drum riser. And because a lot of what people don't also think about is how you're going to travel, right? And what you're going to travel with. Are you going to carry your own lights? And if you're going to carry your lights, that's great. You have a big trailer that rides behind the bus, or you could share a tractor trailer or two, however you're rolling. But it all has to sort of fit back there, and it can't be too heavy either, right? Because now there's certain trailers are only rated for, maybe 10,000 an axle or whatever it is. So now we're also designing it to where there's wheels on the front of the riser, so the drum riser can actually roll through doors. So sometimes they don't have double doors, it'll be able to stand up and roll, right, and fit shit like that. So then it folds down and it's got legs, and then it's got places where the it's already sort of mapped out where the stands and everything are going to go. Now some bands will actually have the kit sit on the riser and travel that way. If you got like a trailer or stuff. I remember Chevelle played with them years ago when I was still in Fuel, and we played a show with Weezer and Chevelle, and it was kind of a cool lineup. Tonic and Chevelle, it came off the tractor trailer, the drums. They had their own in-ears. They could literally be set up and plugged in, ready to rock in less than 10 minutes.
Really?
Because the drums already had mics on them. So they basically just patched the drums in. And then they had, I don't even know if they were playing through amps. They may have been just through like a Kemper would be these days. This was 10 years ago. So whatever that was. So yeah. And so when it's time to go to, you unplug it, it goes right back in the tractor trailer and you're out of there, so it is about efficiency. Some of these rooms, they're not the biggest room in town, if you will, with the biggest stage in town, and there's 4 bands. So, you kind of have to think about that too. Like, how are you going to put everything on stage and how it's going to work, with some of the smaller stages. And also, what can you subtract from it in case you can't bring all the lights up on stage? Because we like to have like full fucking, as much as possible, in a perfect situation.
So you're looking for a just add water, make it happen type of setup. Pretty much.
I mean, because there's just and thank God we're carrying our own in-ears and monitor system, because then the mixes are coming from the laptop. So we already have. I plug in and it's already a mix that's close to what I want it to be. So you're not sitting there going, hey, a little more of this, a little less of that. Like, it's just like maddening, that shit,
That reminds me, I got to send you links to equipment so you can record on the road.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I know.
Yes. That would be an issue, that you end up on the road and you're like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm going to do, So anyway, all right, let's, so ticket sales available now, Saliva website, Ticketmaster, wherever, but you can get the full lineup on Saliva's site, Earshot site, Lilac site, the founder site. But if they're coming to a city near you, make it a point to go to the show. Buy your Saliva merch. Feel free to buy your Vinyl Road podcast merch off of jasonbailey.com. I'm sure Brad would love to see you in the crowd with your Vinyl Road podcast t-shirt. If I might suggest, make sure you purchase a premium t-shirt unless you like baggy sleeves. I do not like baggy sleeves. So just my suggestion. So that's that. And that's going to be cool. That's going to be real fun. If they're not coming to a city near you, don't get upset. Contact wherever the venue is in the city nearest you or your radio station and say, bring this tour to our city, right? Because I don't have an Orlando date. I don't have a Tampa date. I don't have a Jacksonville date. I don't have a Miami date. So I've reached out to a couple people and said, hey, look, I want this tour here. And hopefully that works out.
I hope it works out. And, like Will was saying on the last episode, like, we don't book them, man. And we realize there are some cities that, there's a lot of cities that we're not hitting. I'm hoping that after this tour, there'll be another run before the end of the year, and we'll hit be able to, even if it's 10 or 15 shows, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, that we'll be able to come and hit those places that we missed.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
I mean, if not, it'd be next year. So fuck.
All right. Questions. If you ever have questions for Brad or even me, you can go to the Vinyl Roadies Facebook page, right? You just search for it and I don't know if it's private or if it's public.
There's
But
two. There is
there's
the
two.
private version, and then there's the public one, the Vinyl
Okay.
Roadies. just
So
by
if you want to be a
itself.
part of it, it's actually a good amount of people in it already, but there's a section in there that asks for questions. And, like you got to keep asking questions because we go through them pretty quickly. So if you do want your question read. So anyway, I've got a couple of them and then I have a suggestion. So here we go. This from Ashley. Brad, what is your go-to comfort food while you're on the road?
I know my favorite comfort food when I'm home.
What is that?
Chili.
That's not comfort food.
That's comfort food. Yeah, it is, man. You make a fucking thing of chili and it warms your belly up and you put hot sauce in there and it's fucking isn't it? I mean, okay, if that's not, then fried chicken and mashed potatoes, I guess.
Jesus. Like comfort food, I would think would be fairly light on your stomach, right?
Oh no, comfort food's like chicken pot pie and like shit
Soul
like
food.
that. Like it's like more like that kind of shit. Yeah. I mean, baked beans and like savory type shit. I think a comfort food. I mean, there's Asian comfort food too. I mean, I like all kinds of stuff, man. So it's whatever town I'm in at that given time. I look it up and whatever jumps out at me, I'm like, okay, tonight we're doing Thai or whatever. I mean, pizza. We get a lot of pizza because that's usually what's open when we're done playing, and they'll be like, "Got y'all some pizzas, man," and it's like, 11:30 at night, we're staggering around. Okay, fuck it, and then and we appreciate the pizzas. Don't get me wrong, I'm a pizza connoisseur at this point. I know everything there is to know about a pizza. Trust me. And so you try to look for things, locally owned, and you try to look for things that have some uniqueness. I remember Seven Dust did a tour back in the day, and I'm friends with those guys, and they were like, we hit all the Guy Fieri, diners, drive-ins, and dives. They'd look up where he went, and then every town they go in, they'd find one and do it. I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. When you're in Cincinnati, if you're a chili guy, do you go to Skyline Chili?
Yes.
I love
good shit, dude. Yes.
So for those that are listening are not familiar with Skyline Chili, yes, you can buy it at the grocery store in the frozen food section or the canned food section. It's not going to be anywhere near as good when you go to the store. When I was a kid living in Naples in the mall, they had a Skyline Chili, and it's like spaghetti noodles with a special chili. I'm not an onions guy, so I never did the onions, but they would serve it like 3-way or 4-way. But the cheese was so finely shredded. Like that's what made it. And then you'd get the oyster crackers but the chili sauce was like not a heavy chili. It wasn't spaghetti sauce. It's very unique and it's thin. It's a light sauce. It's not heavy.
Yeah.
It's almost watery at the bottom of your plate, but it works. And it's got this spice in it that I think it's got maybe possibly a little nutmeg in it or something. I don't know. It is the hips nips, dude. It is so good. I
think there's a Skyline in their airport, right? In Cincinnati? I'm pretty sure.
Oh, they used to be a franchise like all over, and then it just didn't work for some reason. So I think
maybe not.
I mean, I know there's locations out there, but for the most part, I think
it's in the store now, in the grocery store.
No, it's in Cincinnati because that's
just in Cincinnati.
Where originated Skyline Chili. It's where it originated from, in Ohio. So I think that's where you can find the actual brick and mortars to serve it. But you can. I remember I said something on the air. This is when I was in Atlanta, and a listener had actual Skyline Chili sent to me from the store.
Oh man,
he arranged it where they sent like I was ordering DoorDash from a different state. It was crazy.
That's awesome. When we're in Chicago, we'll do Lou Malnati's deep dish.
Yeah.
Familiar? Lou Malnati's.
Yeah.
And now you can actually get that delivered to your door, and you put it in the oven and do it yourself.
Are you talking about when you're in Chicago?
No. When I'm in Chicago, we'll have it delivered to the bus, but I think you can get it delivered to your home these days.
My first trip to Chicago, I went up there and I know Jerry Springer. I'd known my whole career, so I reached out to his publicist, to go. I was going to go watch his show or something, and he wasn't recording that day. And I was like literally in town for like a day or two, and I forget the woman I was with at the time, but we're walking around, and I was like, "Hey, let's go and get Chicago food, like either a Chicago hot dog."
Yeah.
They do it differently, or Chicago pizza. Everybody knows Chicago pizza is different. And everywhere I went, they always sent me to that franchise. What's the Chicago pizza franchise?
Uno?
Yeah, Uno's Pizza. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you got to go to Uno's." I'm going,
Nah,
"No,
dude.
I want to go to like
Geno's, dude, or
Joe's,
Luminati's.
yeah, or something like that. Like, give me
Yeah.
something local." But they're like, "Oh, if you want good deep dish, you go to Uno's." I'm like, I can go to Uno's in Orlando or
Exactly.
Atlanta or wherever I was at the time.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Then we found, I think the place you're talking about.
Yeah, Luminati's. That's
what it
good
was.
stuff, man. I mean, when you go there, it's like, all right, that's gonna be like an hour and a half. You just start drinking beer, and then you eat one piece and you're fucking full, and it's over.
Is there any city that you're excited to play because of the food that you know you're going to get? Like whether it's barbecue or
Oh
pizza?
yeah, man. I mean, when we're in Texas, you got to get the brisket, and there's so many good spots. Austin, I mean, I remember last time Bobby and I were there, and I can't think of the name of the place, but we're waiting in line. It's like lunchtime, but it's a little bit later. Maybe it's like 1 o'clock or something, and they just start subtracting shit on the chalkboard. All right, we're out of we're out of sliced brisket now. I only have chopped brisket. We're like, shit. And we were 10 people back in the line. And as we're going up there, they're just subtracting shit. And then people started, they sell them frozen. And people are walking out of there with this $90, $100 brisket that's been smoked and rubbed and everything. And I'm like, damn, that's when you're into it. But yeah, I mean, when we go, of course, like to Seattle, I'm going to get some salmon, cedar plank or something, or some sort of maybe halibut. I mean, there's just so many. If I'm in New Orleans, we're getting Acme Oyster House. They shucking the oysters right there in front of you, man. Or get some etouffee. I mean, it just depends on the city for me. I mean, there's go-to spots, but sometimes you can't get there, or whatever venue you're playing, it's not close to what.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I mean, obviously none of us can experience that unless you travel for a living, but like places like you said, like New Orleans has got great food, or Texas, or the Carolinas, or Georgia, or like every state's kind of known for something. And to know, like, you're looking at your upcoming tour and you're going, oh well, definitely getting this food, definitely. You might not be going to a specific place because you might not be in that exact city, but the state is known for it, so you're going to get it. That's kind of exciting, actually.
Food and beer too. We were just in Wisconsin, and we were drinking Spotted Cow. Are you familiar with Spotted Cow?
No, what's that?
It's New Glarus is the brewing company, but it's a really good lager. Like, and they only sell it in the state of Wisconsin. You can't get it, so
Really?
you have to physically go to Wisconsin. And we actually went to a dive bar when we got to town. We were playing this small town up there called I guess it was a little bit west of Appleton and Fond du Lac and all that. I don't know if you're familiar with Wisconsin, but the whole town showed up. There's probably 7,000 people in the town, but like, it was like their summer music series or something. And I think 10 Years had done it the year before, but anyhow, we go to the dive bar and just to, the night before, because, nothing's open, of course, except for the dive bar, and you can't buy. So we're drinking Spotted Cows with the locals hanging out. It was unique, to say the least, bro. Yeah. So these guys are like, they're like, what, they're just standing there. Next thing you know, they're on the floor having a push-up contest. And then next thing you know, I look over and they're arm wrestling each other. And some of them, they don't have many teeth, and it's just hysterical shit, right? And and then there's these pretzels that have been sitting out on the bar. I'm like, God only knows what's swimming around in them shits from people just touching them. And one of our guys ate one, and it was stale as it could fucking be. It just comical shit, like it was hilarious. Anyway, I know I'm off topic.
No, that's should have brought some pretzels back and kept them as a souvenir. All right, here's one from Dan Jones. Brad, what are your biggest memories working with Bob Marlette, recording, hearing your songs mixed on that first record?
Bob was great, man. I remember Bob doesn't drink or do drugs or anything. He smokes these big cigars. He's like a producer, beard, just like you would picture what a producer would look like, right? But his thing was food. So every day, we're recording at Henson Studios, and every day he was like, what's for lunch? And like, because he knew the label was paying for it too. So he budgeted like fucking thousands of dollars in for food. Next thing you know, here comes the food, and the interns are all scrambling around to set up the food and shit. And I'm like, who's paying for all this shit, right? And so then we finish eating lunch every day. We were only in there maybe a week and a half in that studio doing the drums and the bass and the acoustics and some of the stuff, right? And we'd finish eating, and he'd be like, "What's for dinner?" I'm like, "Bro, fuck it, we just ate lunch, man. Like, god dang. Should we fucking he didn't give one shit, bro. Next thing you know, here comes the Thai food, and it's a whole fucking smorgasbord of shit. Oh man.
That was
No,
on the
but
Shinedown albums.
this is the Leave a Whisper, yeah.
Yeah,
And he kind of spoiled us because when we got to the Tree Studios in Atlanta or Norcross, we are like, "Hey, we're hungry. Can y'all get us some food?" And they're like, I guess. Like, what do y'all want? Like, we're like, no. At the fucking Hinson, they they had a team of people bringing in food every day, twice. And no, Bob was great. One thing about Bob, I feel like he brought to the band was we were pretty new together, right? And I feel like he bolstered confidence and sort of creativity and he didn't put us against each other or make us. I felt like he really cared, and he was making the best record he possibly could under the circumstances, and he's really good at what he does with the melodies and the songwriting and everything. But I do remember one more thing, and then I'll end the question real quick. We had overall day one day at the studio, right? So we're in the studio, and we had this minivan that we're driving around, and believe it or not, it had like a fold down video thing where you could like screens in it. So we have "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." Are you familiar with the movie?
George Clooney.
Yeah. So next thing you know, we're quoting the movie and shit like that, and we're like, man, we should have overall day. So one day we're all in the studio, and I have pictures of this, and we're all in overalls, right? Like just fucking around and shit, right? And so Jason's in the hall, and Christina Aguilera is walking by him. And he's in his overalls looking like some bumpkin from the fucking Sticks and shit, right? So then he's like, he tries to say hello to her, and she was just like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah. Especially in her younger days. Yeah.
Yeah, she was kind of a C, but yeah. Anyway, it was just having fun in there. I think he kept it kind of light and just, and then we heard the result, and that record, I felt like he killed it, as far as the recording and the the choices we made.
I remember being a part of her meet and greet on her first album. I was taking listeners to go meet her, and Genie in a Bottle and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Her versus Britney and that kind of thing. And I think I still have the picture somewhere. And she's such a small girl at that time. She was really small.
Yeah.
And so, but she didn't do individual meet and greets. Like, everybody came, and she sat down in the middle of some bleachers, and everybody sat around her. A picture was taken, and she got up and left.
Wow.
It was like the worst meet and greet I'd ever been a part of, I'd ever seen. That was crazy. Not a cool person. Here's a suggestion for y'all listen, you roadies, vinyl roadies, as they call you, is that why don't you send us stories from you, meaning Brad, or any artist for that matter, and weekly we can pick one out, and maybe Brad sends you an autographed picture and like says to you, like, "Hey Jim, thanks for the photo. Thanks for listening. It's Brad's story," that kind of thing. But that would be kind of cool stuff to share on the show, right?
I think that's a great idea. We should do that. Cause then I think, I have a lot of stories, but it's good to hear your stories too. I mean, we want to hear what your experience has been with any of the bands I've been in, or me directly, or just maybe you met one of your favorite rock stars and he turned out to be an asshole, and and it ruined it. Or maybe he was the greatest person you ever met before, and you were glad to meet him. I mean, there's a lot of that goes on. You got to know that some of these people, they have an image, but everyone has a bad day. So, I mean, maybe the guy's having a bad day, but I've had fans tell me some of these stories, and they're like, "Do you know this person?" And I'll be like, "Actually, I kind of do. Why?" And they're like, he was a total of this. And I'm like, oh man, I hate to hear that. I know him personally. Maybe he's just having a bad day, but anyway, those stories I think are fun to hear, especially, if it goes back to the original fans of that I've had for a long time, way back to 2003 or whatever, when Leave Whisper came out. Or
yeah, I think that'd be cool. And I think the easiest way for you guys to do it, if you're going to do it, is just to go through the Vinyl Road Instagram. So you can just DM us there at the Vinyl Road Podcast on Instagram. So if you haven't liked that yet, please do it. It's a dedicated Instagram page to the podcast. So yeah, I think that's a cool idea. And I mean, that would be the kind of the progression of a show. That would be the progression of this show. We'll see how it works out. Not every bit works. So we'll see what you guys bring to the table. And you can send a video of your story. I can play the video here. You can just write it out, whatever you want to do. But it'll be cool. I mean, it was actually Brad's idea, kind of brought it up and was like, these questions were kind of getting to a point where it's like, there's only so much, like he said, but it would be kind of cool also to hear your stories, maybe your interactions with Brad or your interactions with other artists and stuff like that. And we can kind of go from there. So
maybe I was mean to you.
Maybe Brad was mean to you. Possibly.
I'm sorry if I was mean to you. No,
I know I've got some listeners that have some stories about me being known, but anyway, so yeah, look, all the shows on the BPX have their own Instagram at Honey I Raised the Kids, at Listen to the BS, and at the Vinyl Road Podcast. So if you could follow all those and support all the shows that I do, I'd appreciate that. Honey I Raised the Kids on Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays is the BS, with Tuesday and Thursdays for subscribers and subscribers only. And you can subscribe via jasonbailey.com, and then Vinyl Road Podcast released on Friday. So 3 different shows, 5 days a week. I do a lot of content, and there's a lot of social media to go along with it. Go to jasonbailey.com and get all that information. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, please reach out to me via jasonbailey.com. We've got great sponsors right now. Once Upon a Coconut. Where's my can? Once upon a coconut, once upon a coconut, once upon a coconut, would you be mine? Onceuponacoconut.com. BS Podcast 10 at checkout to save some geetuses. But reach out to me if you want to be a sponsor. All right. Share our content. That's the other thing. Please share our content. Share, so more people can listen. Tag your favorite artist if you want them to come on. I'm sure Brad knows them, right? Hell, I might even know, right? So just tag them and say, at James Hetfield, go on the Vinyl Road Podcast. At Gene Simmons, you were just hanging out with Brad Stewart at Sturgis. Go on the Vinyl Road Podcast. If you could do that, I'd appreciate it. Right?
OJ.
All right. Buddy, you got anything before we get out?
Man, thank you all for listening. God bless. We'll see you out there on the road. We're excited to get out there and see everybody and rock and have a good time. But thank you for listening, and super grateful.
Get your tickets for the tour. Get your tickets for the tour. Yeah, I echo that. Thank you so much. Thanks for support. Look, if you're going to be doing some drinking, I understand. I get it. If you've had too much, please don't get behind the wheel of a car. I've lost way too many friends like that. I love you too much. I don't want to see that happen to you. And we will talk soon. Bye.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. I got some stories.
That's it for this episode. Check out jasonbailey.com for more shows. Until next time.
3 different shows, 5 days a week, 1 feed, details, and to subscribe, jasonbailey.com.